Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the late pick 4 at Saratoga on Saturday with the Grade 3 Saranac Stakes. 3-year-olds going 9 furlongs on the turf. Bet that pick 4 with your DRF Bets account and 10 times the sign-up bonus. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Here's the field for the Saranac. Again, it's 3-year-olds going 9 furlongs on the turf. Chad Brown's got a horse that kicks hard in the stretch. That's the morning line favorite, the number 3 Raging Bull. Compromised by a lack of pace 2 starts back in the Manila. Got the pace last time out in the Hall of Fame, and he kicked hard to deny Maraud.
Could easily be undefeated on the way into this race based on that Manila 2 starts back. It's interesting, you know, when I go back and look at the Hall of Fame, obviously there was a really big pace in that race and he was off of it. I feel like he may not have loved the yielding turf in that race. He was really grinding hard in the stretch in that race, and I thought he did well and maybe overcame some things just to get up and win that race. A really nice performance for him. His effort 2 starts back is really, really, really good. I mean, that was a race that was slow early and fast late, and this horse just couldn't come home fast enough to overcome that situation, but he came home really fast. He's a real good horse. Any concerns for you about the 1 1/8 as he takes on more distance here? I'm wondering about it a little bit. I think he's going to be fine with it, but I do wonder if he keeps getting better as the distances get longer. But make no mistake about it, this is the horse to beat in this race.
I think there's always a concern when they stretch out to a 1 1/8. But what I do like about this horse is it's fairly obvious to me in watching his mechanics that he is still learning on the fly, and he's still winning races despite not having everything down yet, lead change standpoint, etc. I think this horse is very, very good. I think he's the horse to beat, but as we saw, he might be somewhat pace dependent, as we saw in the Manila when he was wired by Up the Ante. And the Timeform US Pace Projector believes that Up the Ante will make the lead one more time. Now, maybe it won't be as easy a lead as when he beat Raging Bull and 2 other next out winners in that Manila, but he came home fast. He was supposed to come home fast when you walk the dog on the lead like that. The question is, if he doesn't get that kind of trip, can he run that kind of race? His prior efforts say no. I wonder if he's just a late improving 3-year-old. I think he's going to get to the lead in here, and I don't mind the 1 1/8 for him.
Yeah, I don't either. You know, it's interesting because I think there's a way to look at him and think, well, he got his maiden win via disqualification. He's won 2 starts since then, both times just absolutely walking on the lead and then sprinting home in the stretch. The candiest of trips both times. And so you look at it and feel like, well, he's dressed up off of those races. And I think he is a little dressed up off of those races. But you know what, Dan? This game isn't that easy. There's nothing that easy about this game. I think he's better than that. I don't think he needs those kinds of situations to run his best race. I think this horse has some real ability. He's got the rail. He's probably going to the front again. I think there's a real chance that he's good enough to win this race, even without all the best of it on the pace. But obviously, the looser he is early, the tougher he is to run down.
Now, Raging Bull just nipped Maraud by the narrowest of margins in the Hall of Fame. And Maraud was closer to those fast fractions. But here are the things that I think benefited Maraud that day. 1, the ground. He is a proven off-turf loving specialist. And 2, I thought Irad Ortiz just gave him a beautiful ride.
Yeah, I agree with both of those things. He obviously likes cutting the ground, and he got a perfect trip last time. And listen, he ran well in there. He just missed in that race, but it did sort of feel to me anyway like Raging Bull, and not only did he have the tougher trip, he may not have really loved that off going. They get to catch firm ground on Saturday. I think it makes this not as close as it was last time. Maraud's a good horse, a real hard trier, and he's versatile. He's not a big one-run closer. He can get a good trip in this race. I just think Raging Bull's better than him.
Class relief for first-time turf runner Free Drop Billy. No Justifies in here. He faced him in his last 2 races. No Good Magics in here. He faced him in 2 out of his last 3 races. He's trying turf for the first time. On the bottom of his pedigree, it is all turf. He is a half to Hawkbill, a multiple grade and Group 1 winner going long on the turf. The Dam, Grade 3 placed going long on the turf. Here's the problem, and there's always a problem in this game. Union Rags is 3 for 101 with first-time turf runners. Let the price be your guide. I think 6 to 1's fair.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of price he goes off, and we'll just see if he can take the step forward. He's a pretty talented dirt horse, but he needs something. Something's got to shake this horse up and get him over the hump. Maybe it'll be the turf. I have no interest in betting Union Rags horses on the grass. Obviously, he is a half to a really good turf horse. That horse is by Kitten's Joy, not by Union Rags. we'll see what he does in here. I'm not betting him.
Therapist, the number 7. Love what Christophe Clement did. This horse, I think, was overmatched a little bit in the Penn Mile 3 starts back. So he dropped him into some rich New York bred races, and he made hay as the odds-on favorite. The last race, nothing more than a public workout. It was a 3-horse field. He sat second behind a loose pace setter, inhaled the horse. Take that 92 buyer at your own risk. I wouldn't rate him off that race at all. I think he's good. I think he's tactical. I'm a little concerned about the mile and an eighth.
I wonder how far he wants to go, but yeah, don't worry about his last race, but he's got faster races to get to in the past anyway, so you know that he fits well with these horses as far as figures go. He's a pretty talented horse, Dan. I mean, he deserves the chance to step back up. I will say the one thing about his Penn Mile, which was a disappointing effort at first glance, that was a race where he wanted to be closing, and he wasn't closing. He was, trying to keep up with the pace while wide. So I'm not going to be too hard on him for that race. I think this horse is pretty good. I think he fits well in this field.
Golden Brown tried the Haskell. He's a New Jersey bred. He was the local hope. This is his surface. He beat Hot Springs in the Kent 2 starts back. He also beat Carrick, who came back and pulled off just a shocking upset in the Grade 1 Secretariat with a 97 Buyers speed figure. But after watching that race, didn't Hot Springs have all the worst of it from a trip standpoint?
Yeah, I guess he did. Hot Springs was in enough traffic on the upper stretch and then had to wait for the gap before he got clear in the stretch to make a run. So yeah, I guess if you want to look at it that way, he had the worst of it. And I know that Carrick came back and won a big race at Arlington. Dan, I just don't like the Kent that much as a race overall. Golden Brown's been really good in both of his turf races. I'm not taking anything away from this horse. I don't like him that much in this race.
Dancer goes out for a really good trainer in Tim Hills. He's won his last 2 starts. He deserves a chance in this race, despite being a little bit slow on the way in. Does his speed, though, impact this race?
It'll be interesting to see what he does. He's a really game horse. I don't think he's as good as a lot of horses in this race. He's really game, though, and he wants to race you when you come to him in the stretch. And I also I know he's been close to the pace in his last 2. I don't think he's fast enough to make the lead in this race.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Saranac. You're going with a hot horse at the price. The number 2, March to the Arch, has won his last 2 races, both at this 9-furlong distance. I thought he was very visually impressive, winning the Toronto Cup over Rose's Vision, who shipped down to Saratoga to win, and Nipawa, who I believe won the 3rd Jewel of the Canadian Triple Crown, the Breeders' Stakes, in his very next start. Does he get enough pace? I think all he needs is a fair shot at a price.
Yeah, I don't know that he's a horse that I feel like is going to be coming from way out of it anyway. He's a very versatile running style and a great post on the inside with Jose Ortiz, too, who doesn't give anything away in his races. So I don't think he's going to be that far off the pace anyway, especially if they don't go fast. We'll see. I'm a little reluctant to take horses from this barn right now. They are not firing their best shot at Saratoga for whatever reason. But I like that this horse has won twice at 9 furlongs. He won both of those races very easily. He was really impressive last time, coming to the outside and just rolling by that field. And I think there's a chance he gets the jump on Raging Bull. Listen, maybe Raging Bull is just too good for these horses and will run right by this horse in the stretch. This horse could get the jump on him, though, and I like his last 2 races.
You're going 2-3-1-7, and distance is not a problem. I'm hoping up the ante can get to the front, back it down just a little bit under Javier. Maybe we see somewhat of a carbon copy of the Manila, because like Mike, I think there's still something here for this $350,000 2-year-old in training purchase, hoping he can get to the lead and slow it down. 1-3-7 for me in the Grade 3 Saranac. Kicking off the late pick 4 at Saratoga on Saturday. Play that bet with your DRF Bets account and 10 times the sign-up bonus. Bet 20, get 200. DRF.com/bet is where you need to go for all the info. Approximate post time for the Saranac, 5:39 Eastern on Saturday. Best of luck.